You're watching TVC Nigeria, and this is an exclusive interview with the President-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Muhammad Buhari, who won the elections some weeks ago, and who will be taking over the affairs of the country officially in May from the outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan as a civilian leader, of course, after his ouster as a military head of state 30 years ago. First of all, congratulations to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Right now, you had vowed never to go into politics in Nigeria. You did. And then you said that you would not contest again in Nigeria after losing 3 times at the polls. You also did. Now, can you tell us what your changing of your mind at this stage is, really?
Yes, I think the first question, if you are following my political antecedents, you would have known that it was answered by me personally in April 2002 when I joined partisan politics. On that date, I said that all myself and all those that were close to me, if were asked a year ago, that means even there 2000, whether I would be into partisan politics, I would say no. This was simply because of the way I found myself as a military head of state and what the government I led did to politicians of the Second Republic. So I thought I would never, participate in Nigerian partisan politics. But I think that thing should be a credit for me. When people are accusing me of being rigid, stereotype and all that, if I can modify my thoughts, I think then people should give me a credit for that. The second question, I said I would not run an election. Again, I did. Yes, I could recall vividly what I said about the elections. I said that was the last time I will present myself as a candidate. But I said clearly that I will remain in partisan politics. And I have answered this question so many times to your colleagues that people from states and both politicians and non-politicians came and said that I cannot say that I will not participate. Since I said I will remain in partisan politics, then it is my party that will decide what to do. And I agreed. So eventually, if you could recall, I was in ANPP. I left the ANPP. We floated CPC, and then we decided to have a merger, which got the 3 main political parties together under the name of APC, and that's how we arrived where we are today.
When it was clear that you were going to win the presidential election this time around, how did you feel? And then the point where President Goodluck Jonathan put a call across to you, congratulating you even before the election results was announced.
Yes, well, that was, I think it was a landmark in Nigerian political history. Firstly, for an opposition party, to successfully win an election against the incumbent party, which had been there for 16 years. And I think more significantly, what the president did by calling me before even the final tally and before the announcement of INEC and said that he's congratulating me for winning. That has, I thought, a remarkable statesmanship, and that stabilized the politics of this country. And I think he is going down into history for such, because from the extension of 6 weeks, I think many observers, and especially Nigerians, feel that the elections and the results are going to be controversial. But the president decided to cut it off by accepting what is practically on the ground.
Talking about the APC, it seems that the coming about of the APC and the eventual victory of the party was somehow shaped by the approach, the new approach, seen the way it was carried out, a scientific approach, if I must say, carrying out a study to know how really to form a viable opposition. Could you tell us more about this?
I think the role played by Chibisi Akande and Bola Ahmed Tinubu are really remarkable. Those who know Nigerian politics from independence now know that the ace card for political stability is always held by the Southwest. I have no problem, because I believe the Chief Obafemi Awolowo has cultivated a democratic system in the Southwest, and it remained there. And by some fabulous coincidence, as the three of us realized, Chief Akande, Tinubu, myself, and a number of others, that unless the opposition parties come together, there is nothing we can do with the ruling party, the PDP. Because for more than 10 years, they are dictating the terms. So the best thing is for the opposition parties to come together, because each one of us individually will be taken piecemeal and destroyed. But if we come together, we get the national spread, then we will be able to successfully deal with PDP. And thank God we have done it.
There is mass exodus of PDP members to the APC, which many Nigerians somehow are becoming worried, saying that it's gradually giving the APC an image of an old wine in a new bottle. Are you not worried that this could affect the vision of the APC?
I'm not worried, because as I have just explained to you in detail, APC is not a result of an impulsive decision by the leadership of the legacy parties. It is a deliberate, well-processed, well-documented, process that arrived at the APC. So whoever joins us, whether from the ruling party or non-committed politicians before, there is plenty of room for them. As long as they agreed to be part of APC, they can go back to their constituencies and start to establish themselves. It's not from top to bottom, it's from bottom to top.
What factors now will you consider in choosing members of your cabinet?
Well, that's again, the party has a lot of role to play there. But most importantly, I think we need seasoned technocrats, people of professional and personal integrity. There is so much mudslinging and accurate and inaccurate accusations of how corruption has eaten deep into the Nigerian system. We cannot afford to make a mistake. Those people who have been identified as incompetent and of doubtful personal and professional integrity, I don't think they will get a role into the cabinet of the APC.
Now, you sold the change message to Nigerians and they bought it by voting you into office. Now, many Nigerians now, really, your supporters, they see you as a magician, sort of, expecting you to wave your magic wand and start making things happen once you get into office. Now, how soon can Nigeria start seeing visible results of the change message?
I think from 1st of June this year. When we are sworn in, from the processes of picking ministers, as you said, then people will know that we are living to our manifesto's commitment. And I will ask the Nigerian political observers to please study our manifesto. It is not the Bible or the Quran, because you can't change the Quran. Whatever is there, you take it or you leave it. The same thing with most of the part of the Bible. So our manifesto was made by very, very experienced Nigerians. They took several months to arrive at it, but it's subject to modification. As soon as we are in government, we'll highly respect the role of the other two tiers of government, the legislature, and the judiciary. So whatever we said in our manifesto, people must accept the fact that we have to modify certain things according to the law and the constitution of the country.
All right, Professor Tam David West, the former petroleum minister, said that your government, once you get into power, that you would reduce the petroleum price to 40 naira per litre, that it's possible and that Nigerians should look forward to that. Can you please confirm if so?
Well, he said it. I didn't say it. So why should you hold me to ransom about what he said? But having said that, he has been Minister of Petroleum under me, so he knows the industry and he's keeping himself up to date. And I have my own idea about this subsidy or non-subsidy. Mine is based on facts which were available to Tom David West and those that are interested in our prospection and development of our petroleum industry. For petrol to cost so much in Nigeria relative to other countries, how I wish Nigerians could articulate their representations and present it to the government. Because from what I know, the prospection and development of Nigerian petroleum industry was largely financed by Nigeria in terms of Nigeria's percentage of shares in the prospection and development companies. I can understand Nigerian to pay the cost at filling station should be the cost of a barrel from the wellhead, the type of crude, transportation to the refinery, the cost of refining, the cost of transportation from the refinery to the filling stations. And then we look hard at the economy. I mean the cost of the economy itself internally in Nigeria, and then the cost of fuel outside, so that we don't make our fuel too cheap, you know, to encourage smuggling and other irresponsible acts identified by a lot of Nigerians in the industry. Because I know, to the best of my ability, the upgrading of Port Harcourt refinery from 60,000 to 100,000, and then the building of another core refinery in Port Harcourt over 150,000 barrels. So Port Harcourt alone had the capacity of refining 150,000 barrels of Nigerian crude a day. And then I, as Minister of Petroleum, signed the contract for Wari, 100,000 barrels a day, Kaduna, 100,000 barrels a day, and pipeline were built throughout across the country, more than 3,200 line pipes, and then more than 20 depots from, say, Ilorin to Gusau, to Maiduguri, to Kano, to Makadi, to Adamawa. We all did that without borrowing. So why should Nigerian borrow cost so much? If we borrow this money and we are paying back with interest, I can understand Nigerians to be charged much more than it should be, as I described it.
So in other words, are you saying that it's possible the price of petrol pegged at 87 naira per litre now could reduce when you get to office?
We'll look at it. It is going to be difficult. The reason is this. Virtually the infrastructure has been destroyed by neglect, by PDP. Even when we were working then, when the refineries were working, when there is maintenance, turnaround maintenance they call it, where refineries are closed and then they are maintained according to specifications by the manufacturers. Nigerians hardly know it. Why? Because the people that are in charge for prospection and development in Nigeria have got refineries all over the world. All we have to do is sit down with them. We are going to get so many thousands of Nigerian type of barrels that will yield so much petrol, so much kerosene, so much diesel, you go and refine it and you bring it for us, we pay you money for transportation. Nigerian could hardly know that refineries are closed. But what PDP governments have done are to kill the refineries, allow the pipelines to be destroyed by saboteurs, and refuse to maintain the depots and so on. So the petroleum industry is in such a mess, just like the rest of the economy, that I cannot promise magic, as you put in magic wand. I don't think I have got that magic wand.
Are there plans to revive the refineries and even build new ones under your government?
I think that's the most sensible thing to do. One of our problems is lack of employment. Here we are as a country, and in our most important industry, petroleum, people who are trained, petroleum engineers, gas, civil, for pipelines, for structures, thousands of Nigerians are employed. And then you allow a percentage of another set of terrible Nigerians, to destroy this infrastructure, to make people unemployed, to make the rest of Nigeria pay so much for the products that God gave them, that they put infrastructure on the ground, they refine it, they distribute it. They allow a corrupt party within 16 years to destroy that vital economy, along with others. The good old NEPA and Power Holding Company of Nigeria have been sold. Now those who bought them, we have to study what have they done with them. At the time, the government said it voted 7 billion naira for that conference. ASU was on strike. I think this government has capacity for wrong priorities. We just have to block all loopholes, how people siphon public funds.
So what about power? What plans do you have to improve power supply in Nigeria?
We have to see what efforts were done in terms of privatization. The good old NEPA and Power Holding Company of Nigeria have been sold. Now those who bought them, we have to study what have they done with them. All we know, at least 20 billion United States dollars have been spent on power between 1999 and now. What are the results? There's a lot of work to be done.
The country doesn't have a national carrier in the aviation industry, but there are many private aviation airlines around now. Is there a plan by a government to let Nigeria have a national carrier?
I like to treat patriotism with a lot of economic sense and common sense. I think for Nigeria, railways is more important than airlines. Railways can be used by people from different levels, from cleaners in the office, to permanent secretaries, to the ministers, to the presidency. But airlines is for the elite. Mostly it's for the elite, those that can afford to pay. But my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, I don't think the party has come up with its in their manifesto. I would give Nigerian Railways more priority over Nigerian Airways and Nigerian Shipping Line, and would give priority to the roads because of the way they affect the economy, especially link roads, roads to the rural areas and so on, where food stuff is brought to the urban areas, where people move either to work and back. So there is a lot of work to be done, but our party, as I said, our manifesto has seen it all. They condensed it, but it can be expanded, and with the participation of the legislature, we will identify priorities and work very hard to get things done.
Now, you promised to fight corruption and, of course, improve security in the country. Don't you think this, too, will be a challenge really to tackle effectively?
We have three fundamental problems in Nigeria. One, insecurity. Two, unemployment, the damage done to the economy. As I have just mentioned, only one part of it, the petroleum industry. Three, corruption. In all the 35 states, and the town hall meeting I had in Lagos, in Kano, in Abuja, I emphasized these 3 points. I could not recall any group or any individual disagreeing with me in identifying these fundamental issues. Now, these are issues that will certainly take time, but we thought of agriculture and mining will help, the new government to quickly provide jobs for everybody unemployed, and we will give that a lot of priority, because insecurity and unemployment and corruption is such a vicious circle that it has to be broken. If you have insecurity, it will affect employment. Look at the schools closed in the northeast, the factories, the bridges blown, and the unemployment they caused, and what the corruption has been doing to us. So I've already started persuading Nigerians to be patient with us and to try to see us. We'll try and explain at every level what we are doing and how we are doing it, and what cooperation we need from Nigerians.
So, talking about security, do you think there will be a need for you to reform the military and the police, especially with the drama over your missing certificate and then later on it was found?
Yeah, well, it's the inefficiency and the corruption of the PDP administration, as I kept on saying, the last 16 years. Somebody up there in PDP ought to know that the armed forces, and indeed the ministries and other organizations, as I mentioned about financial instructions and administrative instruction. I had the honor to be the Nigerian Army Military Secretary, and I know every commissioned officer has a file. And that file was opened the day he was commissioned in the Nigerian Army, and it will be there until his death. So for somebody to say that my certificate is missing, that proves how the system has been destroyed. Does it mean the 3 previous times INEC cleared me to participate, INEC didn't know what they were doing, or they were not following the Electoral Act? These are things I think normal Nigerians should quickly see through them.
So will there be a reform? Will there be an investigation, especially into what went into your certificate getting missing?
Well, they said it's no longer missing. So why should we waste public funds and investigate it again?
All right, so moving on from that.
In any case, there's one damn good cartoonist, I can't remember in which paper. He said, well, they said Buhari's certificate is missing, but INEC has given him one. So if INEC has given me certificate of winning the election, to hell with the certificate, that is with the military.
All right, now Nigerians have so long been divided along ethnic and religious lines. Now, as a president of a united Nigeria, how will you move really to unite everyone in the country?
It's security, economy, unemployment, and corruption. And Nigerians agreed with APC's identification of these problems. And there has to be a quick, systematic way of eliminating Nigeria from these problems. We thank God the result of this election across the country. It has dealt with what you brought out are social problems across ethnicity and religion. People just voted for APC, a party that promised them to make sure that Nigerians will have a fair deal during its rule in this country.
Now, will you look into the recommendations in the National Confab report?
Well, frankly, I haven't studied it. I have a problem with that conference. My problem is this, if you could recall. At the time, the government said it voted 7 billion naira for that conference. ASU was on strike. And teachers on the tertiary institutions, polytechnics, were on strike. These strikes were at least for a whole academic year. I think a serious government, if they have 7 billion naira to throw about, will go and negotiate with ASU, and then the teachers' organization or teachers' unions of the tertiary institutions from polytechnics downwards, so that our children should remain in school. Even complement equipment, and other social facilities, for educational institutions. I was so much personally against that thing because the National Assembly is there. I believe the executive ought to have sent a memo to the National Assembly if they want a constitutional amendment. This is in line with the Constitution of 1999 as amended. Why go and take 7 billion that we could not afford when our children are on the streets? I think this government has capacity for wrong priorities that are hurting us as a nation.
All right, so will your party now, which will be the ruling party at the center, intimidate or be hostile to opposition parties once in office? I'm talking about the PDP states.
No, that will be against our manifesto. Our manifesto strengthens social justice. And somebody who promised social justice and put it in writing cannot come down around and promote injustice. We are going to provide social justice. People are going to get what they deserve, whether they are in opposition or in our party.
What basically do you hope to achieve in your first 100 days in office?
I think the three things I mentioned: security, employment, which means improvement of the economy, and really giving corruption a bloody nose. We just have to block all loopholes, how people siphon public funds for their own interests.
What plan do you have for the EFCC?
Well, I think when I get there, I will find out what the EFCC has been doing, and so that I will know what to do with them.
All right, thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's been quite interesting chatting with you, exclusively telling us your plans for Nigerians once you get into office officially in May.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'm Major General Muhammad Buhari, GCFR, President-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I am very grateful to TVC for taking the opportunity to take such a detailed interview of my opinions on political issues, on economic issues, on security issues that will certainly concern the government as from 30th of May this year.